previous season and then the Invitationals as well. We have the bands ready for you, by the way, so we can take a look at where are we going to play. So Border is out. We know that much because every team in Latin America played Border. And Oregon is also out by nature of a pretty lucky draw. So that is...
I'm happy about that.
I'm pretty happy that we're not going to see Border Oregon. I'm going to be honest with you, and we'll see what the teams decide to ban.
Just so you know, it is random.
It is completely random.
Happen to get Oregon automatically out of there because the reason, of course, if you're wondering why there's a random map is because everyone played Border yesterday. That means that there's no second map that can be eliminated, so there just has to be a random draw. Consulate, Villa, Coastline, Bank are the bands. Clubhouse, the final map up there. And you know, in previous times, in later seasons, I would almost dread Clubhouse as much as I would dread an Oregon, a Border. You know, it's one of those maps that's been played out, it's been seen, it's been done. But if you've been living under a rock for the last couple months, then you might not be aware. There was a change to Clubhouse.
Not just a change, multiple changes.
There were
multiple changes that were made to Clubhouse.
As a map, it is fundamentally different now.
A much better map.
Vastly superior. The basement site, which was in previous times considered, I think, the only real bomb site on that map, has been changed a little bit, but every other site has been completely altered. It's brand new.
So if we have the community vote for you, we can go and see what do you think happened in this particular matchup. I wouldn't be too surprised, but we'll forego it because we decided to get into the game. So the first ban is going to go to Liquid. They're once again going to start on defense, and they're also going to get the first ban, and they're going to take care of Thatcher. That is an interesting first operator to take care of. And the one thing with Clubhouse is, outside of...
You know what I just noticed, Parker?
What did you just notice?
Thatcher is holding a shotgun in the ban phase.
Yes, he is.
That's a little bit hilarious.
Yeah, people don't use him with a shotgun. Ibana also gets taken out.
Parker, he can't hold his shotgun. He has an AR-33 and an L-85, as far as I know.
And the shotgun.
Does he have a third?
Yes, he has a shotgun.
Michael.
All the SASG have the shotgun. Or all the SAS have the shotgun.
I swear it doesn't. Okay. Hey, I have never used it on him. Anyway, Thatcher banned, Habana banned, Maestro, the next one, he's been banned. So Mir will be the final. And
oh my, this is
a really crippling ban phase.
This is going to be a very interesting game. Just right away, this is a map where Maestro sees an extensive amount of play so far from what I've heard. He is a very, very powerful operator. Mira is integral on at least 2 of the 4 sites, possibly even 3 of the sites. No Hibana, Thatcher is going to be a nuisance because a lot of these walls, especially on CCTV and cache, as well as master bedroom and bathroom, you need those bandit charges. You need those mute jammers to stop the entry into the site, and there's no Thatcher. So you're going to rely a lot on the Twitch, as well as the explosives, possibly from below, of maybe a Buck, maybe a Zofia, maybe an Ash, etc. The IQ was getting subbed off to the Montaigne. That would be an interesting pick. The Montaigne will, of course, be the first choice. So
I kind of like that decision on Clubhouse. Honestly, there's a lot of situations where you're dealing with multiple 90-degree angles from the defenders, crossfires, stuff like that, and you need to be able to safely peek around a corner just a little bit, see what you're dealing with before you progress on your attack. So, smart decision there. Basement, the first site picked by Liquid. So it's still kind of up in debate what the best site on Clubhouse is as of the most recent change.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the thought process when it comes to the basement was it was the only site that saw a nerf. So this right here, super telling of the Thatcher ban. Team Liquid going to go for a setup that it can only be countered by either A, copious amounts of grenades or flashbangs and the like, or B, a Thatcher. There cannot be a Thatcher. Take a look at that. So definitely a good call there from Liquid to utilize the potential to completely lock off tunnel, all because they banned one operator. Very smart, very smart.
Absolutely incredible throwback strategy. And also, I did want to say that it does appear that I am incorrect. I am being told that there is no shotgun on Thatcher. I was certain that he did have access to the shotgun.
He's the only one that does.
I was almost assured that he had access to the shotgun before. Well, I mean, it might be Mute that I'm thinking of who has, because I know Mute does have access to the shotgun. We saw it last time.
Do, but not Thatcher.
You know what? You might be right.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the fact that people also forget that Thermite has a shotgun as well.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He has the gas one, but it's never used because it sucks. And
it's really bad.
The 5.56 is a great rifle.
So PX is trying to find an opportunity here, but there's a mute jammer. But whoa, Sexy Cake will get a kill from up top, and that's PX just waiting way too long.
So that's actually really interesting. Sexy Cake used a C4 to open up the wall onto Hot Tub balcony, but he damaged himself down to 510 HP.
Yikes.
So he got the kill on the Thermite, but at what cost?
At what cost, Michael?
Honestly, it was a good call, though, because Hibana banned, no more hard destructors, Thermite gone. It means the attackers are in a really tricky spot.
They have no hard destruction whatsoever. They've got a Montaigne. They're trying to deal with the Yokai drone right now. You can see that Liquid has a lot of opportunity to shut this push down completely. Navi's is inside of blue, and yeah, they got a nerf here. And the big nerf to the downstairs of Clubhouse were those blue stairs. It makes defending blue so much more difficult now because the attackers can just waltz right in a lot of times. You have to rely on whoever's playing blue to be really, really proficient. But Sexy Cake will get his second kill as Navi's is fed into the mute as well. That's the mute using the MP5K. Diogo will stare all the way towards Dirt, waiting for one to push. That'll be the Smoke, who actually hit his target quite well. Nesk jumps in as the Vigil. Diogo is down. Bullet jumps into that, and the only one left is the Montaigne, the one operator who was picked. It's a flawless round to start things off as Nesk is able to take out one former teammates, making it look pretty easy, getting hit with the Yokai drone and then dropping his shield. Perfect execution from Nesk, a beautiful shot.
Very fluid.
Round one will go to Liquid. Did you say fluid for Liquid?
I would say that it was a fluid round.
Fluid round for Liquid.
For Liquid, yes.
Excellent.
But yes, a good attack there from team, or rather defense. We're all getting mixed up today. Good defense there from Team Liquid, and a lot of strategy went into that round. To begin with, I already talked about it, but the Thatcher ban followed up by the setup inside of the tunnel that can only be countered by a Thatcher or a lot of nades. Obviously, Immortals didn't bring a whole lot of them, and they didn't have the opportunity to counter that, or they just didn't see any reason to put the effort in. And you could tell that it was part of their strategy, given that they had their Thermite lingering on that tunnel for a solid 30 seconds, which, again, resulted in their death. And Liquid was counting on that as well. They used Mute instead of Bandit to make it so the Thermite would try to hunt down that spot, that potential hole, the gap in the Mute jammers, but he couldn't find it because it wasn't there. But he kept trying, he died, and then after that, the attack was in a really tricky spot. Because Immortals clearly didn't know what they were getting themselves into after that. They just decided, all right, so let's push from blue, and let's all come in from the storage room hallway. And for some reason, and this is really confusing to me, they put their Montaigne last, and then they all walked into blue and died.
Usually he leads the charge.
Yeah, usually.
Usually. But one of the things with the lack of Hibana, those hatches are going to remain safe. I would suspect that there's two ways that you're going to use your Thermite. Number one, you're going to use one on Dirt Tunnel, and you're probably going to use one on Church Wall, depending on where your push goes. Yeah. You're likely going to have people line up in Dirt and Blue, and that's going to be where you go from. In that case, you might not want to use it for Church. You might just want to use it for the Kitchen Hatch, or you're going to just use Kitchen Hatch and possibly Bar Hatch and hope for a smoke push and a drop from there, but that's very difficult to pull off. What really matters is that banning Hibana on this site gives a huge advantage to the defenders, just as we saw in Oregon, and I like that there was a counterpunch also taking out Mira, which kind of stabilizes it and gives it back on more equal footing.
You know, I can hear a lot of you guys saying Hibana, Hibana, Hibana. You know, we've talked a lot about the Hibana, and the reason being is she is just such an influential operator that having her not be in the match changes the game fundamentally. So it really does mix up a lot of how this has to play out. Nesk playing a very tight angle poorly is going to lose the fight to Diogo and will be finished off by the Twitch drone. Oh wait, possibly not. The Twitch drone somehow dispatched. I'm very confused about what happened there. Maybe shot by one of his teammates, but Navi's will get the kill regardless. And that's garage control now in favor of Immortals. Good play to get that control, and all on the backs of the Montaigne. So this is good use of a Montaigne from Immortals this time around. Good adjustment to be made. They have the Thermite, which is what they need. And they're going to be able to deny PSK the ability to bandit trick that wall via the garage control, allowing them to in turn open up the wall and get control over server stack. So now Team Liquid are starting to lose control over their over their push.
So right now, just trying to anchor down another Montaigne from one will come out and completely block off that window, and we'll see that this is the one site that we often hear is one of the easiest to hold. Sexy Cake just pops up. Navi's does not check his corners in a spot that North America might affectionately refer to as Adam's spot, but there's no check there whatsoever, and that's a freebie for Sexy Cake right now, able to pick apart the Zofia, whose disruption can be so crucial in pushing up top on CCTV through that open garage window.
Now, PSK trying to fight for his life here, and he's not going to be able to contend the server room, and Cyber through the unreinforced walls, through the window, will get two. Impressive play there for the Twitch. It's all up to Sexy Cake now, who's on the flank. He's not got a lot going for him here, though, and as he's going to fight the very aware attackers, he's going to shoot through a shield, and it's not enough. Diogo going to win that fight. Sexy Cake goes down. So good attack there from Immortals, very structured, in fact, taking control over the garage, then thermiting their way in through a unbanditable wall, and then getting the plant on the backs of a Montaigne.
It's very difficult if you don't have proper garage control to get those shock wires that are on the wall facing kennels and facing the ruins aspect of Clubhouse. So I'm surprised that we didn't have that bandited the way that they needed to do it. It was a little strange, just maybe a small oversight from Liquid. But we're going to see where they're going to go this time around. They're not going to make any mistakes. They're going to bring a lot of good site utility. So you've got Bandit, you've got Mutant, you've got Jaeger, whose gadgets will all likely remain on site to some extent, though I wouldn't be too surprised to see Zig use that mute jammer to try and help members of his team roam. We've seen this on a couple maps. We saw it in North America on Monday. We've seen Penta do it a couple times in EU as well, where they're able to basically isolate a part of the map and lock it down with those mute jammers and prevent the attackers from droning you out. So that's something we will look upon, depending on how this plays. Also, I did want to clarify, just for final confirmation, Thatcher does have a shotgun.
Apparently.
I thought he did.
I've
Michael.
never seen it be used on Thatcher
I
before.
thought they all had the shotgun. I was assured.
I so vividly remember, like, yesterday, I was in Thatcher's loadout, and I was like, oh, he doesn't have the shotgun.
I was 100% certain he did, and then I was told that he didn't, and then I was told that he does. I don't know, check.
I actually don't. I'm not going to know until I get home and check it in the game myself, to be honest, because, like, I've gotten a lot of, like, conflicting screenshots, like a picture of it, the loadout without the shotgun.
Are you saying, Michael, that until you get to go home and check it yourself, we have a Schrodinger shotgun right now? The shotgun may or may not exist.
Well, at least in my mind, yeah. But
in your
like,
mind, we are having...
Literally everyone at home has checked it in the last probably 10, 15 minutes and determined that he either does or doesn't.
The people in Twitch, you could say we have a Schrodinger's chat right now as well.
Probably, yeah.
Because we don't know what
I bet they're just arguing about it right now, same as us.
Very distracted like we are.
Yeah.
Anywho, garage pressure going down. One of those exothermic charges are going to be used. Once again, one on that Montaigne looking in through the garage door, ready to head in at any point. They did a much better job on the second round of not having the Montaigne go in solo. He will be backed up at the moment by two members of the team. The Zofia looks like she was going to be the person to establish that pressure. Nesk is in a very dangerous position. He's got a Blackbeard there. He'll get shocked from Cyber, and of course, he'll lose that fight. You're not beating a Blackbeard at that range, especially not with the high vertical kick that you get from Ellis Scorpion at this point in time. So what this has done, though, complete garage control now, and the pressure can really be put on the site here for Immortals.
This is just the same exact strategy that Immortals did last round, and it doesn't seem like Team Liquid has anything in their pocket to try and counter it. I mean, now the Thermite is going to get through the server wall. PSK is going to be pushed off of the B bomb site into the A bomb site, and it's going to be a very fluid take into B. All the while, Immortals are clamping down on PSK's position, not giving him a lot of opportunity to breathe. He will finally make it out. Good on him to be able to survive, but here we go. Right on back to where we were in the previous round. Now B control is completely lost for Liquid, and Immortals are going to have an easy breezy time pushing in. The question is, will there be anything in Liquid's disposal to counter it?
Sexy Cake is going to be a big difference maker. You can see Bullet's going to get very close. He'll take the drone and expecting a push, and he'll lose it. Navi sustains some damage in that firefight, but bullets rattle just above his head. That is a real tongue twister to say. Sexy Cake positioned on the stairs is in a position where they're really going to have to pressure him from below. A flash will go out. It misses PSK as, at the moment, Immortals is stacked up by Garage. One is just waiting for somebody from Garage to come in as PX looks for the feet of potential enemies. They're scouring for a potential yokai drone, but they're not there, and here comes the push onto Sexy Cake. Zig will jump into the fray and take a couple shots, but he'll be concussed as the Montaigne has worked his way in. This is troubling right now. Diogo will destroy Zig as another from the Blackbeard. What a round from him. That's 3 kills. Sexy Cake, last man standing, and he'll have to try to outduel 4 members of Immortals. It won't happen. Navi's, who was playing downstairs, will work his way up to join the rest of his team just in time to get the final kill, and that will be Immortals knocking 2 in a row. CCTV, the site that we said might be the most preferential to defend for Liquid, not quite the case, and they're going to go back downstairs where they were victorious on first round.
Immortals seems to have a really good strategy on taking CCTV really effectively. But the problem is, I mean, there are so many ways to counter that strategy. It's actually really not that complicated. The way that Immortals is taking, they're putting so much of their emphasis on Garage and then just into the server stack, and as well as construction. They have no attention being paid to Lounge. All Liquid needs to do is put a defender with a C4 in Lounge, probably a Pulse would be good, and C4 from below, no plant, no control, Montaigne gone, it doesn't matter. I mean, whoever you get, you're going to hinder the attack a lot, and it's really that simple, but it doesn't seem like Liquid's inclined to employ that strategy. They seem to not know what the counter is, and because of that, they're going to change up their defense and choose to go downstairs. Now, I think that that's probably the right call. Of course, they did win, if I recall correctly, on the basement the first round because they were able to deny the tunnel. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. They need to have a secondary bomb site that they can win on. So once they eventually go somewhere else, they're going to have to figure that out.
Their only victories so far coming on the heels of being able to take out the sole hard breacher that's available in the game, and I think that's a really hard gamble to make because you know, you can't guarantee that that's going to happen every single time. And going back to the game we just saw in match number 1, very similar to year 1 where you'd say, okay, we got the Thatcher, we won the round.
No. Got the Thermite, we win the round.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. We have Thatcher on the brain right now.
Don't think I ever remember saying we got
the Thermite. I meant the Thermite, the hard breacher. I was talking about hard breachers, Michael.
I was
talking about hard breachers.
I'm pretty sure I was wrong about the shotgun too. So it's like, yeah, it's whatever.
2 ADSs will be burned, 3 of the 4 charges, and there the last one will go now. So they know that there is no ADS in there, and the last will go in. But Diogo will get a couple shots onto his foot as they've burned all the ADSs that are currently positioned. And yeah, my apologies for misspeaking. Essentially, you've got the Thermite, we've won the round, and that was essentially what we saw in round number 1. Once the Thermite was off the board, there was really no chance for Immortals on their push. They all just kind of staggered in different directions. They got picked off one by one. You see that there's going to be no opportunity for Sexy Cake to make this play. Dokkaebi calls will force PSK back as they are attempting, possibly in vain, but there will go a grenade, and they will get it. So PSK will immediately smoke it and head for the hills onto Dirt Tunnel, at least stop the push, at least for the time being. Diogo has taken some significant damage as he was trying to outduel the smoke through that drone hole, but at very minimum, they have got Garage, and they still have 1 exothermic charge left.
Yeah, but the problem here is it's taking Immortals now a whole minute and 20 seconds to get that control. So they haven't really accomplished anything else in this round. There's still a lot of roamers from Team Liquid, as is something it's something you can do now. In the past, it used to be you couldn't roam on a basement hold, but now it's very much an option, given how many more hallways and rooms that have been added to the building. And you could see that Zig on his Echo, his yokai, is going to be able to detect Ying pushing her way towards bathroom, and he will disorient her. The question is, will Bullet capitalize? He's got to hear this player just around the corner. Question is, oh no, the phone call. Poor timing for Bullet. The pre-fire comes out from Navi's, but only gives away his position, and Bullet wins that one out. That is all going wrong for Immortals. It was supposed to be the opposite result.
Not quite certain what the Ying was thinking there to not push that fight as quickly as she did. That really shouldn't have been a necessary loss for the team, but you lose those Candelas as well. Now, Not necessarily certain how important those Candelas could have been depending on where this push was going, but they burned basically all the ADSs, so you're going to get some maximum values out of those Candelas when they come onto the site. You've got two bodies pushing dirt right now. That's the Blackbeard, looking like he's being escorted at the moment by the Thermite of PX. And of course, the only member of Liquid down there to fight them is the Smoke of PSK, who appeared to have used his smoke grenades in vain, as they are still pushing largely undeterred. The Dokkaebi will engage with a fight with Sexy Cake, and whoa, Cyber gets in real close, and that's a knife kill before getting shredded. And Diogo will take out PSK. Nesk trading off a 1 as Bullet takes out Cyber, and it is 3-2, but there's no time left. PX comes in, he needs to get a plant off. He'll get 2 kills, but can't get the diffuser down. That is as close to a Pyrrhic victory as you can get. The Thermite just a little too short on time, and that'll tie it up.
He needed 1 or 2 more seconds to get that diffuse plant down, and he probably would have won off it too. The Jaeger was pretty far afield,
yes,
and the last defender who could have stopped that diffuse plant, so a nice try there from the Thermite of PX, but just not enough. And that's got to be disheartening for Immortals. The second defense success for Liquid downstairs, and now they're going to have to go to a different bomb site. Now, this is their last round on defense, and they're going to choose to go to bar. I think the right decision not to go back to cash. They clearly strategically are being outplayed there. They need to mix things up. And if we're thinking about the next, the third site for Clubhouse,
yes,
it could be Master, it could be bar. I don't think the community is really certain about that. I don't even think some of the pro teams are really certain about that yet. But Liquid's making a bet on bar.
From what I've heard, bar is a very tough site to defend successfully because of the way it's been restructured. And this was one of the changes that happened to the site, was they added the wall around Piano. Of course, they boxed into the right of it, or at least to the northern portion. They added the whole bathroom segment as well, so there's a different way for you to push through. It's an interesting setup now for the attackers to try to work through.
If I may, the main thing for me that stands out about the new bar, see that giant wall next to the bar that's just cuts down the middle between the two sites? I think the thought process behind that was we need to give the defenders more cover so that they can pivot easily. But the problem is that giant wall just makes a huge bottleneck between the sites. So the reason bar was hard to defend in the past was mainly because it's so easy as an attacking team to cut down the middle and deny rotation between sites, but that could be contested by ACOGs from the defenders. Sexy Cake using a P90 ACOG on that note, going to get a spawn kill on Cyber, so good job to him. I think that was over by the balcony, the hot tub balcony, maybe looking towards delivery. I'm not entirely sure, we didn't see it, but regardless, a good kill. And yeah, it used to be, as a defensive team, you could just bring more ACOGs, you could fight the long angles. Now there's a giant bottleneck, so if you get cut off from one site, it's going to be hard to rotate into it. There's other options, of course, but it's just little things.
The way that we saw bar play last time was you open up that wall and you basically turn into just a giant site. That's all it is. It's one big, long runway of a site. And I agree with you. You know, we used to say, you know, bring out your ACOGs. It wouldn't be too strange to see the 3 ACOGs on defense on Doc, Rook, and Echo prior to Maestro coming in and joining as the 4th ACOG, to see all of the ACOGs being used on this site because you would play those long angles and you could cover both sites reliably well. I don't know how much that big wall is going to hinder the defense, but I would suspect that you are bang on. I think it's going to be quite tough for them to play against, especially if a team can get control over pool table, because there's now going to be 2 walls that are blocking off that line of sight for the defense.
Now, PSK is going to be holding on to the B-bomb site, but that doesn't seem to be something that's being pressured, at least horizontally. And this new drop-down above the stage is going to apply a lot of pressure to the defenders. It means they cannot play by the desks, by the turned-over chairs. There really isn't a lot of options for the defense there. That used to be, some teams call it dark corner, used to be a highly defended position, and now that it can't be, it changes how the site is held entirely. It's going to put a lot of pressure. Everything is on PSK right now. You've got Bullet downstairs holding PSK's rotation so he can drop if he needs to, but once PSK dies, there's nothing to hold B site.
You've got Zig in there, though, with his Yokai drone, and that could end up being a potential saving grace as well, depending on how they play that.
But still, no warm bodies other than PSK, and it's so dangerous.
One gas grenade is going to push the Montaigne off. That's one who will skirt with danger as he walks back towards the kennel's door, and PSK will get one off successfully. He still has 2 grenades and 30 seconds left, so pretty good timing for PSK. With Zig still having those yokais in play, you'll hear one will go off, a second grenade will go out from PSK, a smoke canister if you may, to keep that position at bay. You'll see the ADS will eat what appeared to be a smoke, and right now frustration for Immortals setting in. The last smoke will go out, and it looks like it'll be a rotate trying to go in through the lounge, but there's Bullet there to take out Navi's. Nesk jumps in, and this is all Liquid at the moment. Zig will have his yokai position in a way. PX will go down, and then the Montaigne comes in. He'll manage to down PSK, but it's not good enough. Sexy Cake, who started things off with that P90, will also finish them, and that will be Liquid taking 3 of the 5 defensive rounds, and we'll swap sides.
What's going on with Latin America today? We've seen some of the... This is probably the slowest day in terms of attacks that we've seen in Pro League in a long, long time. You know, coming off of the match we saw earlier, T1 versus NIP, I mean, both teams very slow, and arguably, you know, you could defend them by saying it was the lack of the Habana. You've got the same thing going on here, a lack of a Habana, and we're seeing more of the same. But in that round, Habana wouldn't have helped with anything. Habana doesn't really, not very necessary on a bar attack, honestly. I mean, you could make an argument for drop downs, but they weren't reinforced. So I guess that really kind of falls flat. There was a thermite. They didn't really need to use it. It was a curious round, and a very slow one at that. With only 5 seconds, that's when you're making your push. That's not enough time, and we saw that last time when they were attacking the basement.
To be fair, on bar previously, you used the thermite to take out the strip club wall. Right. Your Habana is likely going to be used to open up holes in the garage wall to give you pressure onto B, all the way in, if you're even bringing a Habana.
If you're opening the strip wall, then you're not opening the lounge wall.
It's, yeah, I mean, you don't
even... waste of time.
You don't really need to do that. I mean, it really depends. I've seen teams run that double composition and put pressure on both to try to keep them wrapped up. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But... yeah, that was very peculiar, and I think that, honestly, it didn't look like Immortals had any idea how to deal with that site, and that could be because
it's a brand new site.
It is a brand new site. I've repeatedly heard that it is always ignored in most scrims. Most teams will quarrel over CCTV and then downstairs in the basement, with the odd master thrown in as well.
Well, they're going to need the master, since it's the 3 bomb site rotation eventually.
So the bar pick could have been a smart choice for Liquid here, because Immortals just didn't have any idea how to handle it, and I think that really showed. Immortals looked completely lost for that entire round.
I agree with that statement.
No idea how to get that push going.
I mean, they were applying a lot of pressure to like drop downs, for example, the one above stage, and that's a good drop down.
But they didn't do anything with it.
Right, yeah, that's a good drop down to have one person sit on, but it doesn't help you other than disabling a position. That's all it does.
Right.
So unless you're all just going to drop from that, which is very dangerous, stick one person there, move on with your life, start your attack elsewhere. And yeah, I think the thermite really needed to take garage control, open up the lounge wall, do a typical crossfire take onto the stock room, and get the plant. But hindsight's 20/20. And moving on, we've got a CCTV and defense from Immortals. So this is, of course, their first defense as we've rotated the halves, and this is the first site they've chosen to go to.
And this could be the first defensive win we've seen, because so far this site has been played twice.
On this site.
Both the attacking pushes have won on this, and you've got Cyber right now playing with fire, but he's got one's yokai drone situated to possibly give him intel, as that yokai drone keeps sweeping in front of the open hole that the thermite has made. Cyber will engage with one through the doorway of the garage, and he'll take some minor damage, as will Bullet, as the two got into a fight there. That MP7 not really able to outduel the FAMAS most of the time, but getting a couple shots in at least for Cyber, who lost about half his health in the engagement.
And he's just going to continue to hold on to this garage. He's lost half his health, but what else has he done? He's wasted 2/3 of the round. So it's a little bit of more of the same when it comes to these Teethless attack. I mean, you've got Zophias being used on Cyber right now, but where's the follow-up? Where's the droning? Where's the kill? It's not happening. All of those Zophias have been used now, and Bullet's now finally choosing to contest. He will get the kill, so very good job there to Bullet. But with 45 seconds, what is it really worth? Garage control now going to be something that Liquid will really put a lot of emphasis on, and they're going to have to make the most of it, that's for sure. We do have a soft wall, so there's potential for it to be opened up and more pressure to be applied to the defenders. Sexy Cake likely saw the barrel of the Jaeger there. Navi's might have been given away, and as the phone calls come out, the final push will have to follow because there's not enough time for anything else. Sexy will drop. An interesting decision there with so little time. PSK is in the site, and he's going to go for that defuse plant. Bullet and Sexy Cake downstairs trying to deny the C4, but there is none. PX will deny the plant. 6 seconds, so there's still time for a replant. And as the Immortal team gets decimated, they will not be able to stop the secondary plant.
Way too fast to be able to keep up with their absolute decimation.
So the problem is, if you're watching this and being confused at these rounds, all of these rounds have been the slowest we've seen in ages today. And then what is that? What happens from there, Parker? We go to the
5 seconds with 9 people left alive, and you just know it's going to be absolute chaos. You know that nothing normal is about to happen.
You just sometimes you have to step back and you have to be like, okay,
well, this happened.
Madness.
Yeah, and then madness ensued.
See, that's exactly what's going on, though, and I have to say, it's not great.
Teams have not figured out how to defend CCTV, and from what I've seen and heard, Maestro is integral to defending CCTV properly. Same with Master, because you've got a position where you can protect those Evil Eye cams, and they can give you a pretty good vantage point on both of the sites inside of CCTV. Now, it does appear that Immortals is going to go back to CCTV, which is very strange because this is now the third time, or what we just saw was the third time where there was a failure to defend it. They're going to roll the die yet again, and this is a big gamble for them, because if this ends up happening and they lose, then Liquid goes on to match point.
Yeah, and we're so close to that. It's weird because it felt like Immortals has been playing really well. And the way that these rounds have been getting executed, it doesn't feel like Liquid has a 4-2 lead, but they do. I mean, it's clear. It's right there. It's just kind of an odd match so far. And I think a lot of it really just, again, it comes down to how parallel each of the ways that these teams are playing are. Where you're having the attacks just take so much time, and the defense just trying to waste as much time as possible. What?
I'm confused as to why we keep seeing this happen. So far, 2 games, and it has just been, all right, well, let's wait till the final 10 seconds.
Okay.
Is every team doing their Vitality impressions today?
I don't know. We can bounce back.
What is happening?
We can bounce back to the Habana. The lack of a Habana does slow things down.
A lot.
But on this map, I don't even think it matters unless you're attacking the basement. I mean, we're talking about CCTV here, okay? There are a lot of walls that can influence the site indirectly that you would want a Habana for, but most of the time they're not reinforced. And all of the other walls, you would want a thermite to open.
And yeah, this CCTV is a thermite-heavy site.
It's definitely a thermite-heavy site. I mean, we're talking about basement. That's a whole nother story. You want a Habana there, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You need to take care of it. Navi's with the run-out. Sexy Cake on rappel. That's a clay pigeon. He gets shot off the roof from the carbine. That's a beautiful shot from the Jaeger. And he's just able to take the Dokkaebi out of the fight before really much can be done. Most obvious about that is they lose their smokes.
Yeah, they lose their smokes, but also they lose more time. And I think the lack of an operator being a man down is just going to put more pressure on the brakes here for Team Liquid, and that's never good to see. Not considering how these rounds have been playing out.
No, not at all. And you've got, once again, Cyber playing up top inside of Garage. You've got Navi's underneath. So you've got 2 operators who are playing positions where if you get one, they can at least possibly try for the refrag. Though Navi's is just waiting to see where the push is going to happen onto the stairs. If Cyber can keep himself alive, just waiting, then that Jaeger can possibly get a kill up through those vents. But Nesk manages to evade him, at least for the time being. And nobody takes any real damage there. You've also got One's Yokai watching from above, the Silent Guardian, just to make sure that if a push is happening, he can at least tag in and help out his teammate.
Yeah, no matter what, though, it's going to be a lot of I don't want to say it, Parker. I don't want to.
Chaos or carnage.
No, I was going to say time.
Time management. Well, I mean, there is 40 seconds left. You've got Diogo once again playing on those stairs. It's always common to see somebody playing on those stairs. Watching the angle into garage, you can see that window. You've seen a lot of Maestro turrets get put up there as well previously. So obviously with him banned, you've got to keep somebody there to hold and sustain that angle because that garage window is pivotal for this push. With Immortals looking through that gaping thermite hole, they'll sprint right in. Liquid comes in. Diogo manages to catch with a one push from PSK and looking for another, but Nesk takes out PX, and it looks like another for Diogo as he's still positioned on those stairs. Navi's gets one, and Navi's will finish it off. 3 kills for the Jaeger as he had pushed up the stairs himself. And once again, Michael, it takes the final 10 seconds for really the fracas to ensue, but Immortals will stave off a potential match point scenario and actually get the very first CCTV victory that we've seen all day.
You know, I honestly, it's weird because it's like the round doesn't even happen until the last 30 seconds. It's like there's nothing going on. They're just sitting outside the building, opening things up. You know, slow, 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 slow. And then, oh, the round's ending. We better go. And the only time we saw something different happen was when Immortals was attacking on the CCTV and Liquid didn't know how to handle it.
Yes.
That was really great from Immortals. Props to them for that strategy. Well put together. Liquid, on the other hand, had nothing. Again, they didn't have anything to counter. And those rounds played out like you expect rounds to play out in Siege. There was strategy involved. One team was getting outplayed. Now you know, a round like that, what we just witnessed, nothing to do with strategy. It was a simple case of, okay, we're going to open up the things that we would normally open up, but in the meantime, we're going to wait the entire round before we start our push. And then fracas is a good word. You said it, and I think that really it describes it well. It's just chaos. It's mass chaos, and whoever wins out in the team fight gets the victory, and it just kind of throws strategy out the window, and it's a little bit confusing to watch if I'm being honest.
The one thing that I'm seeing is the one time, or the 2 times rather, that Immortals were able to take map control quickly, they had one of the best operators suited at taking map control, Montaigne. So you have an operator who by nature is designed to continuously push and corral the defenders as you see fit, usually while somebody accompanies him, possibly fights for kills, or even just works to push the defenders away and take that map control for your team. It's been interesting that we haven't seen Liquid running any shields whatsoever, especially with the prevalence that we saw Sexy Cake on the Blitz in Atlantic City. No shields so far for Liquid today.
And Immortals, on the other hand, making really good use of the shields when they were on attack side. You can see now they're going to have a heavy roam strategy, mainly focused on the top of Blue Tunnel. It makes sense, given that it has so much sway over how these basement defenses play out. And confusingly, not a whole lot of focus on that end of the map by Team Liquid, at least not so far. They have at least a little bit of time to make that rotation, so things could change here, and they seem to be trying to gather information before they make the push. A little bit of a convoluted way to get your drone up there, Sexy Cake, but at least it's up. Isn't there a drone?
Now. Isn't there also a drone hole there for him at his disposal?
Well, by Cash, yeah, or on the, you mean on the balcony?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could use that too.
PSK fearing a potential mute. Because of the 6 pick, they could have flexed onto a mute, I suppose. I don't even think a 6 pick was used from the defenders, if I remember correctly. They did swap off of the sledge to the buck for the attackers. They should get dirt tunnel with ease. And then, of course, the second exothermic charge looking like it's going to go on kitchen, which is standard. Then I would assume it's probably going to be a push through dirt, maybe some control above, and they'll completely forego a church push unless they happen to go through blue. So that appears to be the way that Liquid is setting themselves up at the moment.
It appears to be, yeah, but
things can change, as we have seen.
And the problem is they're playing so loose. Like, they don't have any, to me, they don't have any dedicated way they want to handle this. They're going to get the first kill. Diogo goes down as he peeks the main stairs. Cyber will respond, and Sexy Cake keeping the advantage for Liquid. But it's just more of the same back and forth. These positions that the Immortals defenders are playing are still good to hold onto the site. They have a loose grip on Arsenal right now, but they can make it work. You can see Navi's trying to contest the bottom of main stairs. Very dangerous, especially against a Zofia. Possibly the perfect kit to deal with that angle if Nesk chooses to peek into it. Bad timing there from Nesk, and he will miss out on PX rotating. But as the lifelines go out, he's going to be aware of what he's dealing with on this push. The question is all about timing. With only 20 seconds left, Nesk is going to have to get a kill or two on this push. He will do that as he gets control over Church. One eliminated. He's got to get this second one. Navi's inside of blue wins it out. 8 seconds, and not a whole lot of time for Liquid to get the plant, but they will actually, under cover of smoke, and despite the gas canisters, the diffuser goes down. Now it's just Navi's and PX in an attempt to retake, and as I say that, Sexy Kate going to secure the Jaeger in the main hallway. So just PX, and he's got to find 3. He's got 1 on super low HP and another on 2 bullets worth of HP. So there is a potential clutch here, but against all these ACOGs at such long angles and his position given away, it's going to be difficult, that's for sure. He's going to have to get a little bit lucky here, and Sexy going to say no to that, using a hollow of his own and securing the final kill. In fact, a reflex, even more impressive.
Yeah, long-range shot. They knew he had him locked down, and just a couple dots there. The SMG-12, which is probably at the moment one of the strongest guns to hold. And
SMG-12, SMG-11, bearing 9, these are some of the most powerful guns.
They could realistically be primary.
They are primary weapons.
You know,
let's not kid ourselves.
The SMG-12's only real downside is the fact that it has such an outrageous burst kick after the first 1 and 2 shots, and it jumps straight up that you can, it might be difficult for some people to control, but it is an exceptionally good gun to use. On Dokkaebi, it does balance out the fact that she has that DMR, but regardless, a good play by Sexy Cake there to just anchor things down, and he's really been the star of this game. He's gotten some really crucial opening picks. He's been there for the clutch in the long run as well, and now as his team finds himself on match point, we will once again see Immortals go back downstairs. So the first time they went to CCTV, they lost. They went to CCTV a second time, they won. I guess they figured something out about their defense. Immortals is going to go back down to Church, and they'll see if second time's a charm. Obviously, the smartest strategy, given the fact there are only 2 options, were to go bar stock or upstairs to master, because it was still, CCTV was still locked. Interesting
scoreboard there. Zig and PSK, not a single kill, and yet their team winning 5-3. Well, I wanted to say it, but I'm not going to. But yeah, two players with no kills. And wow, and still one round away from a victory. Now they're gonna have to win onto a basement attack. Totally feasible. Cyber with a run out here. Interesting decision making. Okay, chooses not to do anything with that. Why make the hole if you're not gonna use it? Kind of curious. The timing of his impact, there couldn't have been anyone pushing him at that point. Maybe he's just trying to stall up the attack as much as possible. But no matter what, kind of just wasted utility and an avenue added for the attackers. A really, really good avenue to get control over Garage, which Bullet will establish early on. That Claymore alone cuts off a lot of rotation for the defense moving forward.
Yeah, the rotation on the top of Oil Pit is just something that's been there for ages, and you've seen teams will say, oh, well, you know, you don't need to always put it there, and then they don't put it there, and then they end up paying for it. And
yeah, they always die to someone climbing the ladder.
It seems to go in circles, right? It's one of those things where you say, oh, well, you know, I don't need to put one there because nobody rotates because there's always a Claymore there, and then you don't put it there. And
the cyclical meta.
Yeah, it's the same as when you say, oh, I don't need a drone at the top floor of Clubhouse. Nobody ever roams. And then evil geniuses have 2 roaming on you, and then next thing you know, 2 members of Rogue are dead, and you said, well, we probably should have droned that one out.
And then everyone checks that VOD, and then nobody roams on Clubhouse basement for the next 2 months until somebody does it again in cyclical meta. And so anyway,
it's the snake eating its tail. It is an Ouroboros of meta, Michael.
Yes. So anyway, droning going on here. The Vigil detected before he's able to use his ability, and Cyber going to be given away.
Zig also saw the Yokai drone there as well.
That's called out by Zig, so good drone work from the Buck, and now forced control over Blue Hall. What are we calling this right here, Parker?
It used to be called Adam's Spot because, you know, a lot of people were referring to it as
we can't call it.
But we can't call it anymore. It's still electrical, probably. Electrical or storage or whichever you may call it.
Though, Blue Hall?
Garage stairs. I don't. Maybe probably garage stairs would make the most sense. But then there's.
But it's not from the garage. That's the other stair. That's the ladder.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure. I want to call it Blue Hall because that makes the most sense in this context.
Look what's happening again, though.
Yeah, 55 seconds, and who's alive? How many members are alive, Parker? Can you count them?
Everybody. Zig is going to be first contact on a Diogo. PSK and Nesk had lost some health in that fray as well as Zig, too. You've got Bullet still in this position watching blue stairs. We just probably call it blue stairs. And now Bullet will work his way down. He knows that there's one playing in blue. It's the smoke right now of PX, who is going to be daring a fight against an F2. Two of the highest DPS guns in the game will be squaring off, but that smoke hoping to choke him away. Another gas canister will be used onto the hatch and kitchen, which will establish some control for the defense, but they'll be momentarily stopped due to the Dokkaebi call going out. Bullet will manage to finally find that frag on a PX. Nesk will take out Navi's. Cyber gone to Nesk. That is 2 for the player, who a lot of people would say is the best in the world, and 1 against his former team, but Bullet will find him, and that will be Liquid, taking it 6-3. The GGs come out in the chat, and Liquid will continue on their unbeaten streak. That'll be 2 victories for them. They will go up with a differential of 3, extending it to +7. And what are your main takeaways, other than Hibana being banned? What are your main takeaways there?
My main takeaways are Thatcher has a shotgun.
Thatcher does have a shotgun. That is confirmed.
That was a really, really slow match. 6-3 scoreline. Yeah, a skew in favor of Liquid, but Immortals were putting up a heck of a fight. But the main thing is each round came down to the last second. Why? I mean, okay, I get it. Lack of Hibana. I can understand an attack going slower when they're going for the basement.
Yes.
But the only attacks that weren't excruciatingly slow were the 2 attacks that Immortals had onto CCDV. That is it. Everything